I just became hungry and I don't have food ready to eat. And if I put a pot pie in the oven right now, it will take an hour to bake. And I'm hungry as now. I'm thirsty. I'm also thirsty. So I'm going to start with how do we touch the stock? Well, do we touch it from the bottom? Because it sits on the bottom and it is itself. It would be like if you touch somebody on their backside and they sit on their backside. But if you're a hoopiness, you're standing at all times outside. Yes, it would be a female who sits down and she can't afford to sit down. The males can help the females don't sit down if the males are outside standing up all the time until they shun. Because you shun, don't tell everybody you have a birthday and that you sleep in a bed. You shun standing up outside is due until you get to Africa and then you can stand there. That's because you can't sit on your testicles. And if you're not a white person, you have descented testicles. I don't want to call them derogatory, but they're descented testicles. White people, they're not white because they're in mixed race. Okay, here we go. Yeah, there we go. White people are mixed alives with black people. If you formed a black person into alive, you're not really white anymore. You're a Caucasian if it's an Asian person, and if it's a black person, you're not white anymore. I don't want to say what you are because it's not true. First time, I think, having this, and I love it. It's cold, and I'm having the threatening that I need to tell it that I'm not going to touch it from the bottom because it sits itself. But I form the stock, so I'm in order, and if I touch it on the bottom, I'm caring for it to make sure that I don't drop it. And I am in order, and I am a low order. I wouldn't drop it elsewhere, but because I have mental problems, I might hold the stock so that I don't drop it mentally. But it's really not due to hold it down here, it's due to hold it on the sides. I'm not showing you how to hold the stock. It's true I don't afford that you touch the stock. I am approximately admitting that I don't afford that you have ever been formed and made in public. I just don't afford it because it wasn't my world. It was the world having to do with Jesus doesn't have a penis. And he doesn't have a penis. If he had a penis, he wouldn't have a penis. He wouldn't be alive, and you wouldn't be anywhere in public. That's what the churches are trying to tell you. But where you do belong in jails and prisons, you can get death in there. Well, I didn't alive you in the public, but your illegal genitals disputed the property, and you were supposed to put yourself in jails and prisons because everything is locked. You're not supposed to threaten to break a car window with a rock and make a key, materialized key that's illegal, like a magician. And then you get into the car and drive it into a house or a building, and you make more keys. That's totally illegal. I don't want to pay for that with my virginity. No, I want myself deceased out of the form world, but it was an entrapment. Jesus doesn't have a penis. I am myself. You're not supposed to be angry with me. So, who didn't tell you that Jesus doesn't have a penis? What you heard on television is that the Vatican announced that the figure on the crosses of every church is Jesus Christ. Jesus or Jesus Christ. And that is not disclosing that Jesus, the figure on the cross, does not have a penis. That means they made a felony. Somebody in the Vatican Church didn't leave because they thought that to themselves about themselves. They put it on television. Why? You put it on. So what if you think that way? Somebody thought about it, set it into a microphone, set it onto a television camera, and put it all over the world for 45 years of alive. But Jesus didn't say that himself. He can't. He doesn't have a penis. Well, you're a mess. Jesus left that kind of mess behind. He doesn't afford to have a penis. All right.